Bigfoot, Dogman, Jersey Devil, and others. Are they real? Figments of our imagination? Or the most cleverly disregarded reality of all time? Come into the cabin. Let's sit down and find out together. Hey guys, welcome back to the cabin. I'm Robbie.
Norman?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's Johnny.
Hey, small baby steps.
Yeah.
He was Johnny for a couple weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
He's allowed to have a small, minor 12-step setback.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. As our radio listeners can see, they can read his name tag.
Yeah,
4 out of 5 shrinks can't be wrong.
that's right.
How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Norm. How are you?
Pretty good.
Johnny, how are you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Now,
Fake it till I make it.
This is one of the subjects that's near and dear to my heart. I know you guys love chasing Bigfoot and all that, but I always love extraterrestrial type incidents. I'm waiting for E.T. to come and take me home.
Norm, there's so many things that I could have done with that, but I'm not going to go there.
I know.
Yes.
About 40 years ago, back in the 1980s, around 80 to 82, I believe, there was a UFO seen over Broadway Lake in the Belton area of Anderson County. Now, I managed to talk to a couple of the EMTs back then who seen this UFO, because they were part of the EMS that went out there, the fire department, sheriff's department, because they were looking for a crashed plane. And they reported seeing a red ball of light over Broadway Lake. It was a big pulsating ball that eventually disappeared. And it was a big chaotic event that night because they thought a plane crashed in the woods. There was EMS and fire driving all over the place. Well, come back 40 years now, 2022, back in December, for 3 days in the Broadway Lake area, again, over the lake area itself, and in the small township of Belton and surrounding area, they had red orbs and white orbs flying around the area at night. People were seeing again. They were, nobody could discern sounds, nobody could discern shapes. There weren't triangles, there weren't delta shape. Just from what everybody was reporting, they were flying erratically. So this is the first time, like in 40 years again, that they've seen the return of the UFOs over the Broadway Lake area. And this is something that I find interesting because, we had this Chinese balloon get shot down.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened a couple weeks? Yeah. And then what happened a couple weeks later?
Something that probably what balloon got shot down?
Yeah, there's about 5 supposed UFO shoot downs.
Yeah.
One over the Yukon, one over the Great Lakes, one over
Canada.
Wisconsin?
I think the Wisconsin one turned out to be the one that they ended up chasing into Canada, maybe.
Or was that the one that chased into the Great Lakes? Because,
Maybe.
see, Yukon, Wisconsin, Great Lakes, that was 3. And then I was told about the green laser lights over Hawaii. That's a lot going on. Then China supposedly shot down an unidentified aircraft. But
I even heard
and Russia.
I was about to say that I heard that Russia even got involved with shooting something down.
Amazing what shooting down a Chinese spy balloon does, because everybody's upset that somebody's going to be trying to do something like that again, and all of a sudden everybody's air defense system's on a high alert.
There was I never did hear any kind of confirmation on it or anything like that. And, when all this happened was the night of the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And they actually had a press conference.
Yes.
But they buried it on YouTube. It was live. It was on YouTube. And they didn't cut in. Normally something like that, they're going to have some, and this is like SecDef was there.
Yes.
general over NASA, or I believe, or no,
Space Force.
No, not Space Force. NORAD.
NORAD, okay.
Yeah, general over NORAD was there, and they didn't cut in on any of this stuff.
Because you didn't want to upset people with working up the football game.
Yeah, because the Super Bowl is so much more important than possible UFOs getting shot down over the
Possible alien invasion.
continental United States. I mean,
And see, it's amazing with the release of the Tic Tac videos, and then the fact that they've created this new organization for UAPs. Why? Unidentified aerial phenomenon. It's not a phenomenon. It's
an
unidentified flying object.
Yeah.
Phenomenon to me can be
that
swamp gas.
You're about to answer your own question. That's why. Because if it was an unidentified flying object, it is what it is. Because gas don't fly.
No,
Balloons technically really don't fly; they float.
they float.
Which I guess you could call it an unidentified floating object too.
Oh my. Coinky dink? I think not.
Yeah, floating
the-
objects.
But-
Did the thing from Belton ever show up on radar, or was it just visual?
I think it was just visual. I'm not 100% sure. But Johnny, how many balloons you ever seen?
Fly against the wind.
Yeah, move in a forward. Yeah, balloons go up and down.
Only
And then
if,
they get pushed, and that's it.
only if they're called the Graf Spree or the Hindenburg and they're powered.
Yeah, and they're still not going to be out running fighter jets. And this is like F-22 Raptors.
Yes. Or
Now-
F-16s.
I heard never could get any kind of confirmation on this, but just what we heard was that they scrambled a couple of F-16s, and some of those F-16s didn't make it back.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, DA and I went live that night.
But it wouldn't be unusual if they had an encounter that bad.
Well, like I said, we went live that night, and it was still the feed was up for 30-ish minutes while they were talking, and all of a sudden it just went dark. And you couldn't find it anymore.
Now, the F-16s that were down, did they say how they went down?
Well, see, I never could find any kind of
Confirmation.
any confirmation that there was multiple sources that were saying that. But speaking of sources, did you hear the quote that the general from NORAD said?
No, I didn't see that, unfortunately. I might have been at work.
His quote was, "I'm not ruling out aliens." He actually said that, and they actually printed it.
They're getting to that point where they're using that term a little bit more often here lately. There's a lot of other things I've been following and seeing more often now in different feeds that makes me wonder if some of the stuff that people was originally tinfoil hat theories is not actually true.
Yeah, I mean,
Then this is stuff that's coming from the government now.
well, they've declassified so many pilot encounters now. It's not even funny. I mean, because pilots have been encountering stuff like this for decades.
As long as we've been in the
Yeah.
air.
But to declassify something that Navy Top Guns ran into back in 2014, was it?
Well, this goes back to P-51 Mustangs were
Yeah.
having these
Thomas
encounters.
Mantell is the first example. He lost his life to going after a flying disc.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, was that out in Washington or
No,
Oregon?
it was Kentucky or Tennessee, back in the early 1950s. He was a National Guard pilot, former World War II ace, lost his life when he went to engage, and they said it was pilot error, that he was following Venus. Look him up.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. There's been Canadian Air Force pilots that have disappeared over the Great Lakes while doing an intercept on supposed UFOs that have never returned
Over the Great Lakes.
over the Great Lakes.
Wow.
This was back in the 50s and 60s that their aircraft have disappeared. And there have been rumored that even U.S. aircraft that have gone up on intercepts have disappeared like that.
Well, that's a bad day to be a pilot, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
You're curious, but it's like, whoa.
but there was a lot, just a lot of stuff that was so strange about that whole, what was it, 2-3 days that all this stuff happened in?
Yeah.
You know, we really get back up to the one at Myrtle Beach. That was the weather balloon itself.
Right.
But it was shot down. Why do you need to shoot down, take a fighter jet, scramble it to shoot down a balloon? I mean, there's a lot of other ways that you take a balloon out other than what?
It made great fodder for the meme war.
I mean, I think you could have used an F-16 with guns, but they said the guns couldn't do it because it would have perforated it, but not enough to cause the balloon to deflate.
So
a 20 millimeter Vulcan,
I know
it does.
you and I know it would do that.
yeah, but okay, Johnny. Here's a technical question for you on this. I know you were a grease monkey for planes and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And Norm, you were around military aircraft. What's the ballpark figure on how much a round costs?
Not much.
You talking about the missile they fired at it? That was like
Oh,
400K, right?
Yeah.
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 You gonna waste 400K on a balloon?
Hey,
I mean, I know it's the American government, and I know toilet seats cost $60 million, and hammers cost $140 million. I mean, I get it, but come on, if it was really a balloon, why are you going to send what was it, a AIM or a Sidewinder?
Yeah.
I mean, something ain't stirring the Kool-Aid. But
it what looks good.
oh, Tyler just gave $439,000 each.
It's optics.
I remember during the first Desert Storm, this back in '92, they'd show you all the death and carnage over there. It was in a commercial for the Apache helicopter, which was a piece of junk. The Cobras and A-10s did Death Highway. The Apaches came in at the end because their particle separators couldn't handle the dust, but they got all the press. Same thing with the Patriot missile. It was, America, home of war and, selling weapons.
It's optics.
I know. I mean, I guess I'm not legitimately asking some of those questions. It's just one of those wake up type things, Because, I mean, like I said, you bury probably one of the most important stories of the 21st century
A YouTube video.
on a YouTube video.
YouTube channel.
Yeah. Well, it was a live feed. I don't know if it was the actual channel. I think it was just a live feed. But it was YouTube. Granted, the Super Bowl's the Super Bowl, but like it's, y'all know me. I'm a sports guy. But I think that warrants cutting over the Super Bowl.
Want to know about aliens being shot down?
I mean, I'm the kind of guy that gets mad when the president cuts in over sporting events because I usually don't care what that guy's got to say. But something like that, which, by the way, he was eating his ice cream somewhere, and you never heard him anywhere. It was SecDef and NORAD General and a few others, but, that guy's out eating his ice cream somewhere.
Might have been asleep.
He probably was. He's probably eating his ice cream while he was asleep. But that's a different story for a different day and a different show.
What about clones?
Well, there is that. So we could
This is a good topic to expand further on. Probably.
Yeah.
I think this could definitely be an hour plus show if we really wanted it to be. But my suggestion on this, I think we need to kind of do a deep dive in this, like start looking like some of those the fighter thing or the
Fighter pilots. I can find articles on aircraft that disappeared with UFO encounters that were military, U.S. and Canadian, because there have been Canadian pilots that have disappeared over the Great Lakes. There's been U.S. military pilots. Captain Mantell is the best one I can tell you about. I could go on, but I think tonight we're just going to leave it here just to wet everybody's whistle, and we'll come back on this at a later date.
I think this is one that warrants us really diving into this one, looking into some of these things, because just scratching the surface of this don't do do it justice.
No, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah. So, all right, that was a nice little teaser tidbit show, though.
Yeah.
So, all right, Norm, we'll tell them how to get in touch with us.
You can find us on Facebook, where you can reach out, talk to our admins, our group moderators about reaching out to us about questions, answers. You need someone to investigate something. You want to talk to someone about an incident. Reach us there on Facebook, anytime, anywhere. Also, you can post something if you wish about something or questions. We're there for you.
All right, and also if you want to get us at our email account, our email address is what'sreallyouthere2022@gmail.com. You can get in touch with us on our YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe. We post all of our shows on YouTube, so help us grow that YouTube account. We're Spreaker, iHeart, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to them that way. And Norm also posts most of the videos to the Facebook page too. So there's plenty of ways to watch us. The one that helps us out the most is either Spreaker, iHeart, or any of those platforms, or the YouTube channel. Likes really help us. Shares. So if you want to help the channel out, that's the best way to help us out. But other than that, you got anything else, Johnny?
No, I didn't know about the lasers over Hawaii, so I got to dig into that.
Yeah. Another rabbit hole for you to dive down. Norm?
Nope. I'm glad everybody's here to listen to us tonight.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see you next time at the cabin, folks. I'm Robbie.
I'm Norman.
I'm Johnny.
We'll see you later.